The centerpiece at our anniversary dinner cost more than my monthly grocery budget, and it looked like something a drunk florist assembled in the dark. "Happy 15 years, Brady said, barely glancing up from his phone. I slid the wooden box across the white tablecloth. I'd spent 3 months on it, walnut and cherry inlay, dovetail joints so tight you couldn't slide paper between them, a hidden compartment that opened with a specific sequence of touches. The kind of craftsmanship that takes years to master and weeks to execute. Brady opened it, frowned, and closed it again. "What am I supposed to do with this?" "It's a keepsake box, for memories or Iris." He set down his phone with the careful patience people use on toddlers. "Get me something real next time, like a watch, or those cufflinks I showed you." The waiter appeared with champagne neither of us wanted. I smiled the way women do when the cake is burning, and the guests say they love the smell. At home, Nova was sprawling across the sectional, her phone glowing in the dark living room. "How was dinner?" she asked, not looking up. "Fine." "Did Dad like his gift?" I didn't answer. Brady had already disappeared into his home office, the converted bedroom that smelled like leather cleaner and ambition. Nova finally looked at me, and something in her 13-year-old face had gone sharp and knowing. "Mom, you can't compete with Dad's new wife." The words landed like a slap. Not the content, I'd suspected for months, but the casual cruelty of it, delivered with the same tone she used to ask what was for dinner. "Nova, everyone knows. Lexi posts about him constantly. The wellness guru with the hot flipper boyfriend." She rolled her eyes. "It's so cringe." I stood very still in my own living room, holding a purse that matched shoes I'd bought to impress a man who couldn't be bothered to look at me. "Go to bed," I said. "Whatever." After she left, I found the keepsake box in the kitchen trash, wedged between coffee grounds and an empty yogurt container. I pulled it out, wiped it clean, and set it on my workbench in the garage. The walnut gleamed under the fluorescent lights, every joint perfect, every surface smooth as skin. My phone buzzed. Leah Sung, my friend since college, and the realtor who sold half the houses in our development. "Emergency wine tomorrow? I have gossip." I typed back, "Your place, 7. Then I sat in my garage, surrounded by sawdust and half-finished projects, and let myself feel it. Not sadness, not even anger yet, just a cold, clarifying rage that settled in my chest like a stone. Brady wanted something real. I'd give him real. Leah's kitchen smelled like vanilla candles and expensive takeout. She poured wine into glasses the size of fish bowls and pushed one across her marble counter. "So, Lexi Hart. Tell me everything. Fitness influencer. 30 years old. Calls herself a home wellness consultant, which apparently means she stages Brady's flips with crystals and tells buyers the kitchen has good energy." Leah took a long drink. They've been working together for 6 months. She's in every listing video, doing yoga poses in empty living rooms. "How long have you known?" 2 weeks. I wasn't sure how to tell you." I appreciated that Leah didn't apologize. Apologies would have felt like pity. "Does everyone know?" "Define everyone." "The neighborhood, the HOA, Nova's school." Leah's silence was answer enough. "Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories." I thought about Priscilla Ames, our HOA president, who'd cited me twice this year for letting my grass get half an inch too long. I thought about the book club that had stopped inviting me. The way conversations halted when I walked into the coffee shop. "I need you to do something for me," I said. "Anything." "That art co-op downtown, the one that does First Friday exhibitions. Can you get me in?" Leah blinked. "For your woodwork?" "For one piece specifically." I showed her a photo of the keepsake box. She whistled low. "Iris, this is gorgeous, but I don't understand." "I need it consigned. High-end display, prime wall space. I met her eyes. And I need a price tag that will make people stop walking. How high? $170,000. Leah choked on her wine. Are you insane? Museum-grade hand-carved walnut with custom inlay work and hidden compartments. Signed original by an emerging artisan. Similar pieces have sold for that much. Have they? They could have. I smiled. Call it aspirational pricing. Leah studied me for a long moment. Then she pulled out her phone. I know the curator. She owes me for finding her condo. Let me make a call. The HOA meeting was Tuesday night in Priscilla Ames's living room, which looked like a Pottery Barn catalogue had exploded. 18 neighbours crammed onto cream-coloured furniture, drinking coffee from matching mugs. Priscilla ran meetings like a prosecutor, methodical, merciless, and deeply interested in other people's failures. Iris Vale. She peered at me over her reading glasses. You've been cited twice for lawn maintenance, and once for leaving your trash cans visible past 9 a.m. The lawn got long during a work deadline. The trash cans were out because the truck came late. Rules are rules. Priscilla's smile could cut glass. We can't have the neighborhood looking shabby. Property values, you understand. I understood that Priscilla threw the block party where Brady and Lexi had been photographed together, both of them laughing over cocktails while I was visiting my mother in Phoenix. I understood that selective enforcement was Priscilla's favorite weapon. I'll keep my lawn pristine, I said. Speaking of property values, has anyone reviewed the permits for Brady's latest flip on Maple Street? The room went quiet. What about them? Priscilla asked carefully. Just wondering if all the contractors are licensed, if the occupancy limits are being followed during those wellness events Lexi hosts. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to a screenshot. This live stream from last week shows 23 people in a house zoned for single-family residential. A woman named Janet leaned forward. Isn't that a fire hazard? Probably, I said, but I'm sure it's fine. Brady's very careful about following rules. Priscilla's expression could have frozen lava. We'll look into it. I smiled sweetly and accepted another cookie from the tray. After the meeting, a man approached me in the driveway. Victor Harrow, mid-70s, walked with a slight tremor, but had eyes like a hawk. That was well played, he said. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. He handed me a business card, Treasurer Emeritus, HOA Finance Committee. I've been watching your husband's projects. The numbers don't add up. If you're interested in knowing where the money actually goes in this development, call me. I pocketed the card. Why would you help me? Because I'm old, invisible, and bored. His smile was surprisingly warm. And because Priscilla cited my wife for her rose bushes 3 weeks before she passed. Some grudges are worth honoring. First Friday arrived with perfect weather and a crowd that packed the art co-op's exposed brick gallery. Leah had delivered. The keepsake box sat on a white pedestal under track lighting, the wood grain glowing like honey. The placard read, Untitled Memory Box, Hand-carved walnut and cherry inlay, hidden compartment mechanism, original work by Iris Vale, price available upon inquiry. I stood in the corner with a glass of cheap wine, watching people stop and stare. A woman in statement jewelry took photos. A man in an expensive suit examined the dovetail joints with a jeweler's loop. Leah appeared at my elbow. The curator told 3 people it's priced at $170. The rumor's spreading. Good. Iris, nobody's actually going to... She stopped talking because Brady had just walked in. He wore the navy blazer I'd bought him for Christmas, the one he said made him look like a yacht club member. Lexi was with him, tiny, blonde, wearing athleisure that probably cost more than my car payment. She had the kind of face that looked perpetually surprised, whether from Botox or genetics I couldn't tell. They were holding hands. I watched them browse, working the room, Brady's realtor smile bright and automatic. Lexi kept touching his arm, laughing too loudly at things that weren't funny. Then Brady saw the box. He froze. actually froze, mid-conversation with a man in a bow tie. His face went through several expressions: confusion, recognition, something that might have been shame, and finally disbelief. Lexi was live streaming, her phone held high. "Okay, wellness warriors, we're at the coolest art show. Check out this amazing piece." Brady grabbed her wrist, hard enough that she yelped. "What are you doing?" she hissed. "That's—" He couldn't seem to finish the sentence. I stayed in my corner, absolutely still, watching him see the placard, watching him calculate. The box he'd thrown away, displayed like a museum piece. The wife he'd dismissed, listed as an emerging artisan. He pulled Lexi toward the exit. "Brady, what the hell?" Her voice carried across the gallery. "I was doing content. We're leaving. But I wanted to see... now." They left in a cloud of confused murmurs. Leah appeared beside me again, her eyes wide. "Did you see his face?" "Yes. That was better than I expected." I sipped my wine. The gallery hummed around us, voices bright and interested, strangers admiring something I'd made, something real. My phone buzzed. A text from Nova. "Dad's freaking out. What did you do?" I texted back, took out the trash. The curator approached, her expression carefully neutral. "We've had 3 serious inquiries already. One couple wants to schedule a studio visit." "Tell them the price is firm," I said, "and it comes with full provenance documentation. I have photos of the entire creation process. You're serious about the valuation?" I met her eyes. "Completely." She nodded slowly. "Then we'll see what happens." After she left, Leah turned to me. "You're not actually expecting someone to pay $170,000. "No," I said. "I'm expecting Brady to think someone will. I'm expecting him to see that price and realize he threw away something valuable, something real." I finished my wine. "I'm expecting him to understand what a mistake feels like." Leah was quiet for a moment. Then, "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" "Yes." "What do you need from me?" "Everything you know about Brady's business, every property, every partner, every deal that didn't close." I smiled. "And I need to know when the next open house is." Victor Harrow's house smelled like old books and furniture polish. He served coffee in china cups that rattled slightly in his trembling hands, but his voice was steady as concrete. "Your husband is leveraged to his eyebrows," he said, spreading papers across his dining table. 3 properties in active renovation, 2 more under contract. He's using short-term bridge loans with interest rates that would make a loan shark blush. I studied the documents, public records, HOA filings, contractor registrations. Nothing illegal about Victor pulling them. Nothing illegal about him showing me. "Where's the money coming from?" "That's the interesting question." Victor tapped a spreadsheet. "The initial capital came from somewhere, but the source isn't in any of these filings. After that, it's all debt, rolling one loan into another, using equity that doesn't quite exist yet. A house of cards. A very expensive house of cards." He poured more coffee. "If even one property fails to sell at the projected price, the whole structure collapses. How do I make that happen?" Victor's smile was a beautiful thing. "You don't. You just make sure everyone knows it's possible. Reputation is everything in real estate. Doubt is contagious." He pushed a stapled packet across the table. "This is every HOA violation filed in the past year. Notice anything interesting?" I scanned the list. Brady's properties have more citations than anyone else's. Priscilla's been looking the other way. Noise complaints, truck parking, debris removal. All documented, all ignored. He leaned back in his chair. But if someone were to formally request an HOA compliance review, citing specific safety concerns during public events. Lexi's wellness demonstrations. Exactly. The HOA would have to investigate. They'd have to shut things down until proper permits were obtained. That creates delays. Delays cost money. Money Brady doesn't have. I looked at this elderly man with his trembling hands and razor-sharp mind, and felt something like gratitude. Why are you really helping me? I told you. Boredom. Victor. He was quiet for a long moment. My wife spent 40 years making this neighborhood beautiful. She planted every rose bush on our street. When she got sick, Priscilla cited us for weeds in the garden. Weeds that grew because Eleanor was too weak to pull them, and I didn't know how. His voice didn't change, but something in his eyes went hard. Eleanor died thinking she'd failed the neighborhood standards. So yes, I'm bored, but I'm also petty, and I'm very, very patient. I gathered the papers. What do I owe you? Make them pay attention, Victor said. Make them understand that rules apply to everyone. That's payment enough. Lexi's wellness demonstration was scheduled for Saturday at the Maple Street property, a 4-bedroom colonial that Brady was marketing as a sanctuary space for modern living. The online invitation promised chakra alignment, essential oil education, and organic refreshments. 47 people had RSVP'd. The house was zoned for single-family residential. I arrived early, dressed in the kind of yoga pants and designer hoodie that made me look like every other suburban woman on a Saturday morning. Lexi greeted everyone at the door with a bright smile and a waiver to sign. Just standard liability stuff, she chirped, in case anyone has an allergic reaction to the oils. I signed with a fake name and accepted a mat. The living room was packed. Lexi had set up a projector showing her Instagram feed. Endless photos of her in perfect yoga poses, all of them heavily filtered. She stood at the front in matching athletic wear, her voice breathy and performative. Wellness isn't just about your body, it's about your space. Your home should heal you. She gestured to the empty room. This sanctuary was designed for positive energy flow. Notice the open concept. Notice the natural light. A woman near me whispered, "Isn't this just an open house?" "With better lighting," her friend replied. Lexi moved into a sun salutation. Everyone followed. I stayed in child's pose, watching the room, counting heads. 53 people. When we moved to a seated position, I raised my hand. "Yes?" Lexi's smile had gone tight. "I have a question about liability. The waivers cover not personal liability, property liability. This house is zoned residential. You're running a commercial event with over 50 attendees. Did you get a temporary use permit from the city?" The room went quiet. "This isn't commercial, it's educational. You're charging $20 per person. That's $1,100 in revenue." I kept my voice friendly, curious. "I'm sure it's fine. I just work in event planning, and I'd hate for there to be any issues if someone got hurt." Another hand went up, a man in expensive athleisure. "What happens if there's a fire? Are the exits clearly marked?" "There's no fire hazard," Lexi said, but her voice had gone shrill. "Probably not," I agreed, "but building code requires clear egress paths for groups over 15 people. And I'm counting at least 50 bodies in this room, which seems like it might exceed the occupancy limit." "Who are you?" Lexi demanded. "Just a concerned neighbor." People were standing now, looking at exits, murmuring. The man in expensive athleisure was taking photos of the crowd. "Everyone remain calm," Lexi said, which is what people say right before everyone panics. "I think we should go," someone near the door announced. "The event isn't over." But they were leaving. A trickle became a flood. Lexi stood in the empty living room, her phone in her hand, her live stream still recording the exodus. I folded my yoga mat and handed it to her. "Thanks for the class," I said. "Really healing." Her eyes narrowed. "You're her, the wife." "Iris Vale, nice to meet you." "You can't do this." "Do what? Ask questions." I smiled. "You should check your permits, Lexi. The HOA is very particular about compliance." I left her standing in Brady's sanctuary space, surrounded by abandoned mats and the faint smell of lavender oil. Nova dropped the news at dinner like a bomb designed to detonate on impact. Dad got married. I set down my fork carefully. What? This morning. Courthouse thing. Jessie's mom works there and she saw them. It's all over the group chat. She scrolled through her phone, not looking at me. Congratulations, you're divorced. I'm not divorced. Yet, but Dad's married to Lexi now, so... She shrugged with the casual cruelty only teenagers can manage. Guess that makes her my stepmother. I felt something crack in my chest, but I kept my voice level. Did your father tell you this? No, but everyone else did. After dinner, I called Brady. He didn't answer. I called again. On the third try, he picked up. What? Nova says you got married. Silence. Brady. It's complicated. It's bigamy. We'll figure it out. I just needed... He stopped. Needed what? This isn't a good time, Iris. When is? When were you planning to tell me? Tell Nova? Don't make this harder than it has to be. Harder than marrying someone else while you're still married to me? He hung up. I sat in my kitchen, looking at my phone, feeling the cold clarity of absolute rage. Not the hot, messy kind, the ice-cold kind that calculates and plans. My phone buzzed. A text from Leah. Gallery News, call me. I called. Someone made an offer, she said. A serious one, near asking price. Who? Anonymous buyer, going through an LLC, but Iris, the inquiry came through the country club's acquisition committee, the gala committee. I'd forgotten about the annual charity gala, the event where everyone who mattered in our suburb gathered to drink expensive wine and congratulate themselves on caring about local arts. When's the gala? 3 weeks. Can you find out if they're planning to display the box? I'll try, but if they bought it for that much, they'll want to show it off, I finished. They'll want everyone to see what their generosity purchased. After we hung up, I opened my laptop and started a new document, a timeline, a plan. Every move Brady and Lexi had made, every piece of evidence I'd gathered, every leverage point Victor had identified. The country club gala would be perfect. Everyone Brady needed to impress would be there. Every lender, every client, every neighbor who whispered about his success and envied his properties. They'd all watch him, watch his cast-off trash presented as art worth a fortune. And they'd wonder what else he'd thrown away. The gym parking lot was crowded at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. Perfect. I'd been following Lexi's Instagram stories for weeks, tracking her schedule with the dedication of a wildlife researcher. She posted everything: her morning smoothie routine, her favorite workout playlists, her parking spot at the boutique gym, where the monthly membership cost more than most people's car payments. She was there now, posting a selfie with the caption, "Leg day, let's go." I pulled in 3 spaces away and waited. 20 minutes later, she emerged in fresh athleisure, her hair in a perfect ponytail, phone already raised for another selfie. She was heading toward the white Mercedes SUV, the one Brady had leased 6 months ago through his business LLC. The LLC I'd just discovered was technically in my name too, from back when we'd filed joint taxes and combined assets, the LLC that owned the lease. I approached as she was opening the driver's door. Lexi. She turned and recognition flashed across her face. Oh my God, are you following me? We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. That's fine, I'll talk. I stepped closer. Stop using my image in your promotional materials. Stop posting photos from Brady's properties that include my furniture, my staging work, my designs. Cease and desist, effective immediately. She laughed, actually laughed. You can't tell me what to post. I can when it's my copyrighted work. I can when you're implying I endorse your wellness brand. I can when... Brady said you'd try something pathetic. She tossed her hair. You're jealous, you're bitter. You can't accept that he's moved on to someone better. The slap happened before I'd consciously decided to do it. It wasn't hard. Barely more than a sharp tap. But the sound echoed across the parking lot, and Lexi's head snapped to the side. Oh my God! She clutched her cheek, her voice rising to a shriek. You hit me! Everyone saw! She hit me! People were staring. Good. I pulled out my phone and held it up, recording. This is Iris Vale. Today is Wednesday, March 14th. I'm here to inform Lexi Hart that she's in violation of copyright and right of publicity laws. I'm also here to reclaim property that belongs to me. I pulled the key fob from my pocket and pressed the button. The Mercedes chirped. What are you doing? Lexi demanded. Taking back my car. That's Brady's car. No, it's leased through an LLC that I co-own. The lease is in my name. I'm taking possession of my property. I opened the driver's door. You can call Brady to pick you up. You can't do this. Watch me. I slid into the driver's seat. Lexi grabbed the door, trying to hold it open. I pulled harder. She stumbled back. This is theft. I'm calling the police. Please do. Ask them about property rights and legal ownership. I smiled at her through the window. Tell them about the cease and desist order you're about to receive too. I drove away while she screamed behind me, her voice fading as I turned onto the main road. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel, adrenaline singing through my veins. My phone started ringing immediately. Brady. I ignored it. By the time I got home, there were 7 missed calls and a string of texts that devolved from anger to threats to desperate pleas. I forwarded all of them to my lawyer with a note. Document everything. Then I posted the dash cam footage to a private cloud account. Legal, time-stamped, and showing exactly what had happened, including the part where I'd clearly announced my intentions and legal justification. Nova came home from school and found me in the kitchen, still riding the adrenaline high. Mum, what did you do? Reclaim some property. Everyone's saying you assaulted Lexi in a parking lot. I didn't assault anyone. I slapped someone who was using my copyrighted work without permission, then I took back a car that legally belongs to me. Nova stared at me like she'd never seen me before. You're kind of scary right now. Good, I said. I'm tired of being nice. The block party was Priscilla's idea. A spring celebration to foster community spirit and showcase our beautiful neighborhood. She'd sent the invitation via email with clip art of balloons and a reminder about the HOA rules regarding noise levels and parking. Everyone came. It was the suburban equivalent of a command performance. I brought a pasta salad and stationed myself near the dessert table, watching Brady work the crowd. He was good at this. Handshakes and small talk, the kind of easy charm that made people forget they didn't actually like him. Lexi was conspicuously absent. Heard you repossessed his car, Victor said, appearing at my elbow with a paper plate of potato salad. News travels. Like wildfire through dry grass, he smiled. Priscilla received a formal complaint about the wellness demonstrations. Anonymous, of course, but detailed. Very detailed. Imagine that. The HOA is conducting a compliance review of all Brady's properties. Pause on any new permits until the review is complete. I tried not to smile. That must be frustrating for him. Devastating, I'd imagine. Delay costs money he doesn't have. Across the lawn, Brady was talking to a man I recognized from Leah's office, another realtor, someone with commercial clients. Brady's body language was tight, defensive. He's trying to line up a buyer for the Maple Street property, Victor said quietly. Needs to close fast to cover his loan payments, but the HOA review is scaring people off. Such a shame. Isn't it? The party droned on. Kids ran through sprinklers. Someone's speaker played yacht rock. I was contemplating escape when Brady intercepted me near my car. We need to talk. Now you want to talk. You're making things difficult. I'm making things fair. His jaw tightened. The car was for business. You had no right. I had every right. It's my name on the lease. You're being vindictive. I'm being practical. I met his eyes. How's married life, by the way? Congratulations on the bigamy. That's being handled. Is it? Because according to public records, you're still married to me, which makes your courthouse adventure with Lexi legally meaningless. Did you explain that to her? Iris, did you tell her you needed cash fast? Is that what the quickie wedding was about? Combining assets, getting access to her influencer money. His expression confirmed everything. You're pathetic, I said. You used to understand me. I used to think you were worth understanding. I opened my car door. That was my mistake. This isn't over. No, I agreed. It really isn't. I drove away from the block party with the satisfaction of watching him stand there in the street, holding a paper plate and looking like his perfect facade was finally starting to crack. The email arrived 3 days later. From Waverley Country Club Arts Committee. Subject, Gallery Acquisition, Display Opportunity. Dear Ms. Vale, we are pleased to inform you that your piece, Untitled Memory Box, has been acquired by our committee for permanent display in the club's main gallery. As part of our annual charity gala, we would be honored if you would attend as our featured artist and provide a brief presentation about your work and creative process. The gala is Saturday, April 6th, at 7 p.m., cocktail attire. We hope you'll join us in celebrating the arts in our community. I read it 3 times, then called Leah. Did you know about this? I may have mentioned to someone on the committee that you'd be a compelling speaker. Her voice was smug. They bit hard. Apparently, the story behind the piece is very moving. Successful artist, family heirloom techniques, the marriage of traditional craft with modern design. They don't know it was an anniversary gift my husband threw away. Not yet. I sat with my laptop open, looking at the email, feeling the pieces click into place. Leah, I need you to do something for me. Always dangerous words. I need every public document you can find about Brady's business. Every loan, every property transfer, every permit application. And I need it organized into a timeline. That's a lot of work. I'll pay you. You'll buy me dinner and tell me what you're planning. Deal. Iris, what are you going to do at this gala? Give them a presentation they'll never forget, I said. Victor helped me build the presentation. Owen Pike, Brady's contractor, provided the site camera footage, fully legal, captured with property owner permission for insurance purposes, showing Brady and Lexi at various properties, laughing and embracing while workers tried to do their jobs around them. Leah compiled the financial records. Nova, surprising everyone, including herself, forwarded screenshots from her school's parent message boards. Every piece of gossip, every whispered scandal, every speculation about Brady's business and personal life. I wove it all together like a story, like the truth it was. This is brutal, Victor said, reviewing the draft. You're going to humiliate him in front of everyone he knows. Yes. Good. His smile was sharp. Eleanor would have liked you. The week before the gala, I got my hair done, bought a new dress, midnight blue, elegant, expensive, got my nails done for the first time in 5 years. Nova watched me get ready with a strange expression. You look different. Better or worse? Dangerous. I smiled at her in the mirror. I'll take it. Are you and Dad getting divorced? Eventually. Good, she said. He's being a jerk. He is. Can I come to the gala? Absolutely not. But I helped with the research, and I appreciate it, but this is going to be uncomfortable, and I won't subject you to that. She pouted but didn't argue. Smart kid. Saturday arrived with clear skies and perfect weather. The country club looked like something from a magazine. Manicured grounds, white columns, the kind of place where money whispered instead of shouted. I arrived early and found the gallery. My keepsake box sat on a pedestal under perfect lighting, a brass placard beneath it reading, Untitled Memory Box, Iris Vale, Gift of the Arts Committee. It's beautiful, someone said behind me. I turned. The committee chair, a woman named Catherine with silver hair and kind eyes. Thank you. We're so pleased you could join us. Your presentation is scheduled for 8:30 after dinner. Will that work? Perfect. And this is the demonstration you mentioned. I showed her the wooden pieces I'd brought, components of another box, parts that would show the assembly process. She nodded approvingly. What I didn't show her was the laptop in my bag, the backup drive, the carefully edited slideshow that would run behind my demonstration. Brady arrived at 7:45 with Lexi on his arm. She wore white, a calculated choice, bridal and pure. He wore the same navy blazer, the same confident smile. They hadn't seen me yet. I watched them work the room, accepting congratulations on Brady's business success, on his properties, on his bright future. Lexi posted Instagram stories every 3 minutes, her face glowing in the phone's light. At 8:15, I approached the AV booth where Owen had stationed himself as a volunteer tech. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready." At 8:30, Catherine took the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're honored to present our featured artist this evening. Iris Vale will be demonstrating her remarkable woodworking technique and sharing the story behind the stunning piece we've acquired for our permanent collection." Applause filled the room. Measured, polite, the kind of sound that ripples rather than roars. I rose from my seat, smoothed the fabric of my dress, and walked toward the small stage. The lights were warm, the air thick with the scent of catered wine and polished wood. I smiled. Just enough. "Thank you all for being here," I began, my voice steady, carrying easily through the low hum of conversation that had fallen into silence. "This box you've purchased represents about 60 hours of work. Hand-carved dovetail joints, inlaid cherry and walnut, a hidden mechanism that opens only with a specific touch sequence." I lifted the components from the table beside me, each piece sanded to a velvet finish, and demonstrated the opening with slow precision. The audience leaned forward slightly, transfixed by the quiet elegance of the movement. "It was designed to hold precious memories," I continued, "to preserve what matters." Behind me, the slideshow began to play. It started simply enough. Photos of my workshop bathed in warm morning light, close-ups of the wood grain, sketches of the original design. The kind of imagery art patrons expected: craftsmanship, process, devotion. "I made this piece for someone I loved," I said softly. "For our 15th anniversary. I wanted to give him something real, something that would last." The next slide appeared. A photo of the box, my box, thrown into our kitchen trash can, crushed between a wine bottle and the remnants of dinner. The applause had faded by then, replaced by the sound of silence so heavy it seemed to press against the walls. A few people shifted in their seats. Someone coughed. "But sometimes," I said, my tone sharpening just slightly, "what we value isn't what other people see. Sometimes the things we cherish are dismissed, discarded, thrown away." The images changed again. Brady and Lexi at various properties, images pulled directly from her Instagram feed. The two of them smiling, posing in front of half-finished homes, captioned with hashtags about design, love, and success. Then the courthouse on the day of their wedding. The wellness retreat invitations printed with her signature in looping gold script. A murmur moved through the audience. Chairs creaked. Someone whispered Brady's name. "This piece survived," I said, "because I rescued it, because I understood its worth, even when the person I made it for didn't." Then came the documents, financial statements, loan applications, bridge financing, property holdings under stress. Each slide held only a few lines, clean, stark, all public record, but together they painted a very different picture of the man now standing in the back of the room. Brady's face had gone pale. "What is this?" he demanded, voice breaking the stunned quiet. "The truth," I said simply. "The story behind the art you're all celebrating tonight." The next slide appeared, the final one, a scan of the consignment agreement, his signature beside mine, the recorded advance payment from the gallery. the funds he'd withdrawn to pay for his courthouse wedding. My husband tried to sell this piece behind my back, I said clearly, eyes on the audience. He borrowed against its appraised value to finance his new life, but the contract was in my name. The escrow was in my account. He essentially funded his own downfall with my work. The room erupted, not in shouts but in gasps, whispers, the flutter of phones being lifted, cameras snapping. A sea of faces turned between us, hungry for scandal and truth in equal measure. Lexi was crying now, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Brady shouted something about lies, defamation, but it didn't matter. The microphone was still in my hand. Everything you've seen tonight, I said, calm and unhurried, is a matter of public record. Property filings, loan documents, social media posts. I didn't hack anything. I didn't steal anything. I just paid attention. I turned, meeting Brady's eyes. You wanted something real. Here it is. Catherine appeared beside me, gallery director, curator, damage controller. Her expression was carefully neutral, but I could see the tremor at the edge of her mouth. Ms. Vale, this is highly irregular. I apologize for the disruption, I said smoothly. The craftsmanship demonstration is complete. You own a beautiful piece with a fascinating provenance. That's all I promised to provide. And with that, I stepped off the stage. The crowd parted without a word. Phones followed my movement, flashes breaking against the dim light. I walked through them as though I couldn't hear the murmurs, the speculation, the disbelief. Brady intercepted me in the hallway, his hand closing around the air just before my shoulder, not quite daring to touch. His face was tight, pale with fury. You planned this, he said, his voice low and raw. All of it. Yes, I said. I did. You made me look like a fool. You did that yourself, I replied. I just provided documentation. Lexi appeared behind him, her voice high and trembling. You're psycho. You're obsessed. I'm thorough, I said, turning to her. There's a difference. She shook her head, tears streaking. You slapped me. You stole Brady's car. You ruined everything. I defended my intellectual property rights and reclaimed my own vehicle, I said calmly. And I didn't ruin anything. I revealed what was already true. Before either of them could answer, a man in an expensive charcoal suit approached, his stride clipped and certain. I recognized him immediately from the gala program. David Merchant, senior vice president at the regional bank that held most of Brady's construction loans. Mr. Vale, he said, voice like granite, we need to speak, privately. Brady's anger faltered, panic bleeding through his expression. David, this is a misunderstanding. Monday morning, Merchant interrupted. My office, 9 a.m. His tone left no room for argument. He turned to me, gave a small, deliberate nod, and walked away. Brady stood there, frozen, his future collapsing in slow motion, while the murmur of the event swelled again behind us. I didn't look back. Another man appeared, then another. Lenders, investors, the commercial realtor who'd been courting Brady's business, all of them requesting meetings, asking for clarifications, their expressions ranging from concerned to coldly furious. The perfect network Brady had built, the web of credit and reputation and projected success, was unraveling in real time. Priscilla emerged from the gallery, her phone already raised. The HOA will be conducting a comprehensive review of all properties, she announced, her voice carrying. Any violations will result in immediate suspension of privileges and possible fines. She'd turned on him. Of course she had. Priscilla survived by backing winners, and Brady had just been exposed as a spectacular loser. I left them there, Brady surrounded by his collapsing empire, Lexi crying into her phone, the country club buzzing with scandal. In the parking lot, I sat in my car and let the adrenaline drain away. My phone was buzzing constantly. Texts from Leah, from Victor, from neighbors I hadn't heard from in months. One from Nova. Jesse's mom livestreamed the whole thing. You're kind of a legend right now. I smiled and drove home. Monday morning, I filed for separation. Tuesday, Brady moved out of our house into a rental apartment. Wednesday, the Maple Street property went back on the market with a drastically reduced price, a desperation move that wouldn't be enough. Lexi's Instagram went private. Her sponsorship started dropping. A fitness brand, a supplement company, an athleisure line. Apparently, home wrecker who married a bigamist wasn't the brand image they wanted. The neighborhood gossip was relentless and delicious. Every coffee clatch, every school pickup, every HOA email thread dissected the gala presentation frame by frame. I became simultaneously famous and infamous, the wronged wife who'd weaponized suburbia itself. Thursday afternoon, Victor called. The bank is foreclosing on 2 of Brady's properties. The third is in pre-foreclosure. He's done. Good. There's something else. The courthouse wedding. It's being contested. Since he's still legally married to you, the marriage to Lexi is void. She's filed a suit against him for fraud. I laughed. Actually laughed. She's suing him for emotional distress and financial damages. Apparently, she gave him access to her business accounts. Oh, that's beautiful. Isn't it? Though I suspect she won't recover much. Can't get water from a stone. Friday, Leah called with more news. 3 buyers have inquired about your work. Real buyers. One's a gallery in Seattle, one's a private collector, and one's an interior designer who wants custom pieces for a hotel renovation. You're kidding. The scandal made you famous. People want the artist who burned her cheating husband at a country club gala. She paused. Are you okay with that? I thought about it, about being known for revenge instead of craftsmanship, about my work being valued because of my pain. Yes, I said finally, I'll take it. Success is success. Saturday arrived with rain, a spring storm that rattled windows and flooded storm drains. I spent the morning in my workshop, starting a new piece. Something for myself this time. No hidden compartments, no elaborate mechanisms. Just clean lines and beautiful wood. Nova came out to watch. Are you going to make more boxes? Eventually. Different ones. Will you tell the story about Dad and the trash and everything? Would that bother you? She considered. No, it's kind of cool actually. Like you're this artist with a dark origin story. That's one way to look at it. Mom. Her voice went softer. Are you okay? I set down my tools and looked at her, my daughter, who'd delivered the cruelest line that started this whole cascade, who'd become my unexpected ally, who was watching me with genuine concern. I'm better than I've been in years. Good, she said, because Dad's here. I looked up. Brady's rental car was in the driveway. Stay inside, I told Nova, but inside. She went, reluctantly. I met Brady at the door before he could knock. What do you want? He looked terrible. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, eyes red-rimmed. The yacht club polish had stripped away, leaving something hollow underneath. I need money. No. Iris, please, I'm losing everything. The properties, the business, my reputation. You lost those yourself. You destroyed me. That presentation, the documents, the public humiliation. I told the truth, that's all. If the truth destroyed you, maybe you should have built something more honest. I made mistakes, I know that. But we were married for 15 years. That has to mean something. I studied him. This man I'd loved, built a life with, trusted. This stranger wearing his face. It meant something, I said. It meant I learned what I'm worth. It meant I learned what I can survive. It meant I learned that sometimes the trash takes itself out. Don't do this. Don't be cruel. Cruel? You threw away my gift. You cheated on me. You married someone else while you were still my husband. You tried to sell my work without permission. You made me invisible in my own life. My voice stayed level, calm. I'm not being cruel. I'm being done. Lexi's suing me. I heard. I have nothing left. Then start over. Get a job. Rebuild. Figure out who you are when you're not pretending to be someone impressive. I step back. But do it somewhere else. We're finished. Iris. I closed the door. Through the window, I watched him stand there for a long moment, rain soaking his clothes. Then he walked back to his car and drove away. Nova appeared at my elbow. Was that hard? No, I said, surprised by the truth of it. It wasn't hard at all. The gala scandal rippled through the following weeks like aftershocks. Priscilla issued a formal HOA statement about maintaining community standards and transparency, which everyone understood as her covering her own complicity in overlooking Brady's violations. She avoided me at neighborhood events with the careful distance of someone who'd backed the wrong horse and knew it. The art co-op asked me to teach a workshop. The local paper ran a profile, carefully neutral, focusing on my craftsmanship rather than the drama, but everyone read between the lines. The gallery in Seattle made a formal offer for 3 commissioned pieces. I said yes to all of it. Leah helped me set up a proper business LLC, this time entirely in my name, with clean documentation and a lawyer who actually read contracts before signing. Victor introduced me to his accountant, a stern woman who looked at Brady's old tax returns and made sounds of professional disapproval. You'll want to separate your finances completely, she said. File amended returns for the years where he commingled business and personal funds. Protect yourself. I did all of it, filed motions, signed papers, built walls between his collapse and my future. Nova adapted with the resilience of teenagers everywhere. She spent weekends with Brady in his apartment, came home with reports of his new job at a regular mortgage company. No more flipping houses, no more entrepreneur dreams. Just a salary and a cubicle, and the kind of ordinary life he'd spent years trying to escape. He seems sad, she reported after one visit. That's natural. Lexi's not around anymore. I heard they broke up. She's dating some guy who owns a gym franchise, posted about it on Instagram. Nova scrolled through her phone. She deleted all the posts about Dad. Probably for the best. Do you hate her? I thought about it. No, she was part of it, but she wasn't the cause. Your father made his choices. She made hers. I made mine. Yours was scarier. Good scary or bad scary? Good, Nova said. You're like a villain, but the kind you root for. That's called an anti-hero. Whatever. It's cool. 3 months after the gala, I delivered the first commissioned piece to the Seattle Gallery. A jewelry cabinet with intricate marquetry panels showing abstract scenes of transformation, butterflies, phoenixes, things that rebuilt themselves from destruction. The gallery owner, a woman named Patricia with silver-streaked hair and sharp eyes, examined every joint and surface. It's extraordinary. Thank you. The story that comes with it doesn't hurt. People love supporting an artist with narrative weight. She glanced at me. Does that bother you? Being known for the scandal instead of the work? Yes. Sometimes, I admitted, but the work speaks for itself eventually. The story gets people in the door. The craftsmanship makes them stay. Wise perspective. Patricia wrote a check for more money than I'd made in the past year. We'll display this in the fall show. I expect it'll sell quickly. And if it doesn't, it will. But if it didn't, I'd buy it myself. She smiled. Sometimes the best revenge is becoming someone they couldn't have predicted. I drove home thinking about that, about the woman I'd been 3 months ago. Invisible, underestimated, dismissed. About the woman I was becoming. Visible, valuable, done apologizing. The house felt different now, lighter. Nova had claimed Brady's old office for her homework space. I'd converted the dining room into a studio, filled it with tools and wood, and the smell of sawdust. My phone rang. Leah. You're not going to believe this. Try me. Brady's rental apartment is in my building. I saw him in the parking lot. He looks like he's aged 10 years. That's what consequences look like. He asked about you, whether you were seeing anyone, how the business was going. What did you tell him? That you're thriving, that you have a waiting list for commissions, that you're the artist everyone wants to work with. She paused. He cried. Actually cried in the parking lot. I should have felt something, triumph, satisfaction, maybe pity. But I felt nothing. He was a chapter that had ended, a storm that had passed, irrelevant to my forecast. Thanks for letting me know, I said. That's it? No gloating? No victory dance? No, I'm too busy working. After we hung up, I stood in my studio surrounded by projects in various stages of completion. A box with Riverstone inlay for the hotel designer, a cabinet with secret drawers for the private collector, a small keepsake chest, simple, elegant, perfect, that I was making for Nova's 14th birthday. This one had no hidden compartments, no elaborate mechanisms, just beautiful construction and a brass plate that would read, "For Nova, who saw the truth and chose her own path. Love, Mom." Outside, the summer evening was golden and warm. Through the window, I could see neighbors walking dogs, kids riding bikes, the ordinary machinery of suburban life continuing without pause. Priscilla walked past with her usual brisk pace, spotted me through the window, and gave a careful nod. Not friendly, but acknowledging. The recognition of one player to another in the endless game of neighborhood politics. I nodded back. Victor appeared on his evening walk, raised a hand in greeting. I waved. He'd become a fixture in my life. Coffee every Wednesday, quiet companionship, the mentor I hadn't known I needed. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Ms. Vale, this is Catherine from the country club. Despite the unusual circumstances of our gala, your presentation has generated significant interest in our arts program. Would you be willing to serve on our acquisitions committee?" I smiled and typed back, "I'd be honored." Another text, this one from the interior designer. "First cabinet installed at hotel. General manager wants to commission 12 more. Can you handle that volume?" "Yes," I typed. "Send specifications." And finally, one from Nova. "Staying late at Jessie's. Her mum wants to know if you'd teach a woodworking class at the community center." "Tell her maybe," I replied. "Let me check my schedule." The sun was setting, painting the workshop in shades of amber and gold. I picked up my tools and turned back to the bench. There was work to do. There was always work to do. And that was exactly what I wanted. The ending came, not with a bang, but with a whimper, which felt appropriate somehow. 6 months after the gala, Brady filed for personal bankruptcy. The last property foreclosed. Lexi's lawsuit was settled for an undisclosed amount. Probably nothing, given that Brady had nothing to give. Our separation became an official filing for the permanent split. My lawyer handled everything with brisk efficiency. Brady didn't contest. He signed the papers in a conference room that smelled like furniture polish and defeated dreams. I didn't attend. There was no need. The relationship had ended months ago in a country club hallway. The paperwork was just documentation. Nova came home from a weekend with Brady looking thoughtful. "Dad's dating someone new. How do you feel about that?" She shrugged. "She seems nice, normal, works at a bank. They met at his office. Good for him. You don't care? Not even a little bit. That's kind of harsh." "No," I said. "It's kind of honest. I hope he's happy. I hope he learned something. But mostly, I hope he stays in his own life and I stay in mine." Nova considered this. Fair enough. The Seattle gallery sold my jewelry cabinet for triple what I'd been paid to make it. Patricia called with the news and an offer to represent me exclusively. "You're becoming collectible," she said. "People want to say they own an Iris Vale original. Because of the scandal. Initially, but now it's because of the work. You've proven yourself. The story might have opened the door, but the craft is what's keeping it open." I signed the representation agreement that afternoon. The community center woodworking class filled up in 2 hours. 15 students, mostly women, ranging from early 20s to late 60s. They showed up with nervous energy and carefully hidden hopes, the same energy I'd felt in my own garage months ago, rescuing a discarded gift from the trash. I taught them joints and finishing techniques. I taught them how to read wood grain and choose the right tool for each cut. I taught them that mistakes could be fixed, that practice mattered more than talent, that patience was its own form of power. And sometimes, when a student got frustrated or discouraged, I told them about the keepsake box. Not the whole story, not the gala dramatics or the public humiliation. Just the simple truth. I made something beautiful. Someone threw it away. I rescued it and proved its worth. They understood. They all had their own versions of that story. 1 year after the anniversary dinner that started everything, I sat in my studio on a September evening, finishing the last details on a commission for a museum in Portland. A display case with climate-controlled compartments and anti-theft mechanisms hidden in decorative scrollwork. Nova was at the kitchen table doing homework. The house smelled like the pasta sauce I'd started earlier, and the linseed oil I used for finishing. My phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Vale, this is Marcus from Premier Artisan magazine. We're doing a feature on emerging artists in traditional crafts. Your name keeps coming up. Would you be interested in an interview? I almost laughed. Premier Artisan magazine. The publication I'd subscribed to for years, studying the masters, never imagining I'd be considered worthy of their attention. Yes, I said, I'd be very interested. After we scheduled the interview, I set down the phone and looked around my studio. At the projects in progress, the tools I'd mastered, the wood waiting to be transformed. A year ago, I'd been invisible, a hobby woodworker, married to a man who didn't value what I created, a woman whose own daughter had casually informed her she couldn't compete. Now I was a professional artist with gallery representation, a waiting list of commissions, a magazine profile in the works, and a reputation, earned, not given, for excellence. The revenge had been satisfying. The public humiliation of Brady and Lexi had felt justified and necessary. But this quiet success, this steady building of something real and lasting, this was the actual victory. Nova wandered into the studio. What are you smiling about? Just thinking. About Dad? Not even remotely. She grinned. Good. He's boring now anyway. Got a minivan. A minivan, Mom. Everyone grows up eventually. Yeah, but it's supposed to be dignified, not pathetic. She picked up a wood sample from my bench, ran her fingers over the grain. Can you teach me? For real, not just kid stuff. I want to make something. I looked at my daughter, 13 going on 30, sharp-tongued and observant, already learning to navigate the world with her own particular mix of cruelty and kindness. Yes, I said, I can teach you. We stayed in the studio until late, me showing her how to measure twice and cut once, how to respect the wood and trust her hands. She was clumsy at first, impatient, frustrated by the slowness of the process. It's taking forever. Good work does. But I want it done now. Then you'll make garbage. The best things require time. I steadied her hands on the plane. Patience isn't just waiting, it's trusting that the work will pay off eventually. She tried again, slower this time. The shaving that came off the wood was thin and perfect. There, I said, like that. It's harder than it looks. Everything worth doing is. We worked in comfortable silence until she yawned, and I sent her to bed. Then I cleaned up the studio, put away the tools, swept the sawdust into neat piles. Through the window, I could see the neighborhood settling into night. Lights in windows, cars pulling into driveways. The ordinary machinery of suburban life, endless and unchanging. Except it had changed. I had changed it. One truth at a time, one exposure at a time, one beautifully crafted piece at a time. The keepsake box, The anniversary gift that started everything sat on a shelf in my studio now. The country club had returned it after their display period ended, a gesture of goodwill or perhaps discomfort with keeping such a loaded piece. I picked it up, felt its familiar weight, ran my fingers over the joints I'd cut with such care. Brady had thrown it away because he didn't see its value. I'd rescued it and proved him wrong. That was the story. That was the truth. And now, a year later, standing in my own studio, in my own house, surrounded by my own success, I could finally set it down and walk away. Not because it didn't matter, but because I had better things to build. The magazine profile ran in December. 3 pages, glossy photos of my studio and my work, an interview that managed to mention the scandal without dwelling on it. Iris Vale represents a new generation of traditional craftspeople, the article concluded. Her work honors historical techniques while speaking to contemporary themes of resilience, transformation, and the power of reclaiming one's narrative. Nova read it twice, then hung it on the refrigerator with a magnet shaped like a saw blade. You're kind of famous now. Kind of notorious. Same thing, basically. She wasn't wrong. Orders increased. The Seattle Gallery scheduled a solo show. Patricia flew in to discuss representation terms and future projects. Victor attended the contract signing as my unofficial advisor, his trembling hand steady when it came to reviewing legal language. "You've built something real," he said afterward, over coffee in my kitchen. "We built it. You, Leah, Owen, even Nova in her own strange way. But you did the work. You made the choices." He smiled. Eleanor would have been proud. The highest compliment he could give. Winter arrived, the neighborhood decorated for holidays. Priscilla sent a formal HOA notice, reminding everyone about decoration regulations and removal deadlines. Some things never changed. I ran into Brady once at the grocery store in February. He was in the produce section, looking tired but stable. The manic energy had gone. He'd become ordinary. "Iris." "Brady." An awkward pause. Other shoppers moving around us. "You look well," he said finally. "Thank you. I heard about the magazine article. Congratulations." "Thank you," I said again. Another pause. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. "I'm sorry, for all of it. I handled everything badly." "Yes, you did." "I didn't appreciate what I had, what you were building." "No, you didn't." He flinched at my directness. "Is there any chance?" "No." "You don't know what I was going to say." "Yes, I do. And the answer is no. We're done. We've been done. Move forward with your own life and let me move forward with mine." "Fair enough." He picked up his shopping basket. "Take care of yourself, Iris." "I am. That's the whole point." I watched him walk away, this man who'd shared my life for 15 years, who'd fathered my daughter, who'd thrown away my gift and triggered everything that followed. I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not even relief. Just the mild interest you'd feel watching a stranger in a grocery store. And that, I realized, was the real ending. Not the dramatic gala confrontation, or the legal filings, or the public scandal. Just this. 2 people who used to matter to each other, passing in the produce section, exchanging pleasantries like acquaintances. The trash had taken itself out. The lawn finally told the truth. And I had better things to do than look back. I finished my shopping, drove home, and spent the evening in my studio, working on a commission for a collector in Boston. A music box with mechanical birds that sang when you opened specific compartments. Intricate, challenging, beautiful. The kind of thing that required my full attention. The kind of thing I was exceptionally good at creating. The kind of thing that reminded me, every time my hands touched the wood, that I'd built myself into someone who mattered. Not because of revenge, not because of scandal, but because I'd refused to stay invisible. The ornament he threw away became the proof of my worth, and that was real enough for anyone.